In the class, we are still in the Introduction to Food and Beverage Services, and we are now in Unit 4, Performing End of Shift Activities. So there are objectives, and these are the following objectives that we need to be done. First, we need to perform the activities involved in the inventory checking, as well as in reordering and storing items, and undertake these the steps in providing handover. So we already discussed about this term handover. We will hand over the activities or things that not yet done in our during our duty or during our shift, and we need to hand over these things to the next employee that will working on his or her particular shift of duty. So before we will proceed to the formal discussion, we will listen first to the ASEAN Master at the same time Assessor, Ms. Noemi.
Welcome to the fourth unit of Food and Beverage Service NC2, Introduction to Food and Beverage Service. Before shifts change, a certain measure should be undertaken in order to make sure that efficient service continues afterward. These measures are what we are going to cover in this unit. This unit will show you the activities involved in replenishing and reordering items. It will also present the steps in providing handover.
So now let's proceed to replenishing and requisitioning items. This is for the lesson 1 for this. So we are now in lesson number 1. We will discuss about replenishing and requisitioning items. So it is important as a food service staff to know about these terms and this activity. So we all know that every day we have a business operations in the restaurants, and we need to, we use the supplies, we use the items necessary in the food service operations. So if we will use the items, the supplies, it is important that we need to replenish it, and we need to make a request for additional items, okay, so that the business operations will continually run in the restaurants. So for the introduction, before the shift change, again, we discuss about the morning shift. We also have the afternoon shift, and we also have the graveyard shift. There are, variations of time wherein the employees were working in the particular establishment. So certain measures should be undertaken in order to make sure that the efficient service continues afterward. So this is the goal of the establishment. There is a continuous working in the establishment. They are working together. For example, the 6 to 2, they will do their job, and 8 to 5, they will also do their job, and to shift afternoon shift, like for example 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., they also have this different works in that particular time. So these variations of time working employees in that particular establishment, they will have these connections, they have these conversations, and they will hand over certain job or works that is not yet done in their shift, so that there will be a continuous and flow of the business operations. And there are certain measures that we need to undertake on this part. And replenishing and requisitioning items for the incoming shift is part of the activities in providing handovers. We'll already discuss again the handover. You will hand over to the next employee that will be working because you are going to out in the establishment. So in order to have the continuous business operations, to have a smooth business operations, you need to hand over the activities that not yet done during your time. So the replenishing and requisitioning items is one of the activity that you need to undergo to hand over the work or the job. And one of the tasks that you will be required is to do the end of shift is to check the supplies you have in the restaurants. So for example, if you have to work in 6 a.m. until 2 p.m., so at 1 p.m. the you need to check the remaining supplies. Okay? You need to check the supplies. Okay, before you will out in the establishment, you need to make sure to check the supplies, the remaining supplies. You need to check on that, and you need to make some replenish. You will replenish the items that is missing, and if possible, you will have a requisition request. And by the end of each shift, items may need to be replenished or reordering to make sure that the supplies are enough for the next shift. Okay, you need to think what will happen to the next employee while working on the next shift if there is lacking of supplies and items. So you need to check before the end of the shift. Okay, before at the end of the shift. So these are the examples of supplies that we need to replenish. Again, replenishing items mean refilling condiments and restocking tableware to be used for the next shift. So the common F&B items that should be replenished includes. So these are the common items that we need to be replenished. Again, before the end of the shift, you need to check if this example these are the basic. There's the common items that we need to replenish. If there's something missing on these items, you need to replenish. Condiments and sauces, clean tableware in the waiter station, linen, salt and pepper shaker, single-use items like drinking straws, toothpicks, takeaway containers. So you need to check these items if it is available. Okay, and if there is no available items, you need to replenish. For example, clean tableware in the waiter station. As you can check in the waiter station, there's a lacking of clean tableware. So you will go to the kitchen and you will ask the steward if they already clean or wash the tablewares. And if they are done, so you just get the tableware and you will put in the waiter station. So you will replenish so that the next shift will have they will be ready for their um, food service operation also. So that is the importance of replenishing supplies, especially at the end of the shift. And these are the following examples of items that we need to have this requisition. Requisitioning is requesting items coming from the stock room. Requisitioning is done when the number of supplies is below established par stock. And example of items that are requested includes condiments, pots and pans, glasses, cutlery and crockery items, linens, cash register rolls, takeaway boxes or containers, paper napkins, and cleaning products. So you will have a requisitioning items, or you will request certain items if it is not enough. As we have a review here, replenishing supplies if it is available in the restaurant itself. Just like I have an example in the waiter station, you will just get this tableware in the kitchen. But for the requisitioning items, these items were not available in the restaurant itself. So you need to go to the supply office or to the stock room to request such items because it is no longer available in the restaurants. So this is the example of a requisition form that you need to fill up in order to get the supplies that you need in your restaurants. So when requesting supplies, you may be asked to fill out a requisition form. A requisition form is an internal stock ordering form that must be filled out and given to the person in charge of purchasing. So the forms requires the following details. These are the basic details that you need to fill out. The person requesting the items, item type of items needed, the quantity, and the date. So this is a internal stock ordering. You have this requisition form and available items is already in the establishment. It is different from requesting items from the outside supplier, okay, outside of the establishment, supplier outside of the establishment. But this requisition form, it is in the internal stock ordering form, meaning that these items is already in the establishment, and you'll just fill out this form in order for the supply officer to give the items necessary for your service operation as you requested. So this is the example format of a requisition form. You need to write here your name as making the request and the date that you have requested the items and the items here. For example, linen. You put linen here and the quantity five linens, and the signature of approving officer, the supply officer, stockroom officer. So as they have approved your request, you can get now the items that you need in the stockroom, and you need to bring the certain supplies and items to the restaurants to replenish, okay, so that the next shift have this available of items and it cannot affect the operations. So this is the importance of replenishing and requisitioning items needed in the daily operation, and it is one part of the activity in handovering the uh, job or work that is not yet done during your working time.